Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a full week of what's for dinner in my house. So on Monday, I was only cooking for myself and I wasn't really that hungry, so I decided to go for a salmon salad. I started off cooking this salmon fillet that I got from Aldi with some salt and pepper. And on my plate, I've got some lettuce, diced tomatoes, and parsley. Yeah, it was parsley, which was basically what I had on my fridge that day. Once the salmon was cooked, I chopped it off in small pieces and put it into my salad. I wasn't really in the mood this day to put any of a pre-made dressing, so I made it myself by adding some salt and pepper, a tablespoon of olive oil, and of course the juice of a quarter of a lemon because I thought that was just right enough for my salad, and lastly some balsamic vinaigrette. This was so delicious, so simple, and so easy, and it was exactly what I needed on a easy chill day. On Tuesday, I was making spaghetti and meatballs, and so I'm going to start off by cooking my frozen meatballs that I got from my freezer stash. My freezer stash is basically all the meat that I prep for in a month for different recipes that we might want to eat. In this month, I had prepped some meatballs, which is basically seasoning the meat and then forming the little balls. As you can see, I am cooking them right now and also thawing them. So what I do is that I put them on the pan at a very low heat, and so that they have a chance to thaw out as they cook. And after I'm able to see that they're completely thawed out, then I'll add the sauce in here. You'll see it in a second. So I'm going to link down below the recipe that I use for these meatballs. The only difference is that I use some parsley and I only use some ground beef and spicy Italian sausage. In here I was just testing if they were completely thawed out, and then I put them on a plate to clean my pan. Then I return them to my pan to finally cook them in the sauce. So I'm using again the same sauce that I used for the pizza the other day, and I'm dumping whatever is left from the jar into the meatballs. Now this sauce is reduced, but I went ahead and added some water because I wanted the meatballs and the sauce to cook while the spaghetti was cooking. So the water by the end just ended up reducing, and the meatballs were completely cooked and the sauce acquired the meatball flavor, which was really good. This was the final result. My husband skipped on the noodles, but we both really liked the meatballs, and this recipe was a success. Definitely. On Wednesday, we were grilling some steaks, so I decided to make some homemade french fries. For that, I washed the russet potatoes very well. I cut them into french fries, and then I soaked them in water for 30 minutes. I also cut some vegetables to go in the grill, and I'm seasoning them with olive oil, salt, pepper, and dried oregano. I then put them in a little basket of aluminum foil that will go into the grill along with the steaks. My husband was prepping the steak, and basically what he does is that he pokes them with a fork, put some oil, and then season them with Montreal steak seasoning. After the fries had been soaked, I basically drained them and dry them and fry them. Mine went to the air fryer, and my husband's, he wanted the regular french fries. So this is how my plate looked like. It was absolutely delicious. He did overcook my steak a little bit, but it's okay. I also added some salad on the side in my plate. On Thursday, we had another steak that we needed to eat, so I basically turned it into steak fajitas. For that, I chopped my meat, and I'm adding some adobo, Venezuelan adobo seasoning. I'm gonna leave the mix down below because the one from the store I don't necessarily like at all. I'm also mincing some fresh garlic onto my steak and adding some Worcestershire sauce. I'm gonna mix it with my hands before cooking it. I'm also making some white rice, and I also got my onions and peppers started because they need to cook longer than the steak. Once they have this color that you can see right here, I'm going to make a space on the center, and I'm going to add my steak. I had also seasoned my vegetables with olive oil and the Venezuelan adobo seasoning. So I let them cook for a little bit, and once they looked like this, I basically took them off the heat because they were ready to get eaten, and I did not want the steak to overcook. I served this with white rice and some flour tortillas. This definitely was my favorite dinner of the week. I love this plate, and the fresh garlic makes such a difference. On Friday, I had completely forgotten to thaw out something for dinner, so I took this frozen chicken breast and put it in my Instant Pot with a cup of water and some chicken bouillon. And then I am going to cook it for 10 minutes, and that will thaw out the chicken, cook it, and allow me to shred it, basically. The next day, Luke and I were going to buy some produce, so I wanted to empty out my refrigerator, and so I chopped some onions, peppers, I had some garlic, and some parsley. I also needed to use up these potatoes, so I lightly boiled them, and now I put them in a cookie sheet with some aluminum foil, olive oil, salt, and pepper. While my potatoes were roasting in the oven, I started with my onions and pepper as the base for the chicken. As you can see here, my chicken is now cooked, and now I'm going to shred it with my hand mixer. I did realize the chicken was a little bit raw on the inside still, but that's okay because then I put it to cook in the pan with the rest of the vegetables. I let all of that liquid dry out, and I also added some salt, pepper, chili lime seasoning, and red pepper flakes because I knew Luke was going to appreciate the kick. I let it cook and dry all the liquid, and then I added some more chicken broth, ketchup, and mustard. You might think the ketchup and the mustard is weird, but it's very good. It adds a lot of flavor and color. And I learned this from a cooking channel. Her name is Sarah. She's awesome, and I'm going to link her down below. After that was all cooked, I added some Worcestershire sauce, and by then my potatoes were ready and out of the oven. They lasted 20 minutes at 450. I added the fresh parsley and mixed it all up, and then I served my plate, and it was so hearty and so delicious, and we really enjoyed this meal. And finally, on Saturday, I took some hamburger patties that I had already prepared and seasoned for my freezer stash and cooked them in a pan with some cheese. And that small little one that you see right there is for my dog. And she was patiently waiting for it to be ready so that she could eat it. And I did not serve this hamburger with fries this time. I just serve it with some salad, as you can see here. And thank you so much for joining me on this week of What's for Dinners, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.